What's the first thing that happens when someone stops loving you? You might expect loud arguments, slammed doors, or someone asking for space. But in reality, it often begins in a much quieter way. A subtle shift occurs, almost unnoticed at first. And if you're not truly paying attention, you might overlook those early signs, the very moments when their heart starts pulling away. While everything may seem the same, the words spoken and the daily routines followed, this discussion isn't about drama or accusations, nor is it a guessing game. It's about gaining clarity, because when love starts to fade, it tends to leave behind a trail. A gentle, almost imperceptible trail of behavioral changes, emotional distance, and a retreat from connection that tells the real story, even when words are left unspoken. In this video, we will explore 5 signs that often appear first when someone no longer loves you. These indicators aren't mere wild guesses. They are grounded in real emotional patterns observed in long-lasting relationships, marriages, and close partnerships. By the time you finish watching, you'll have a much clearer understanding of what's real, what truly matters, and what your next steps could be. So stay with us until the end, as one of these signs, often overlooked, might completely change how you view your relationship. You deserve honesty, not just from those around you, but also from yourself. Let's take a closer look at how love, when it begins to wane, often makes its presence known in these quiet yet significant ways. The first sign is a loss of curiosity. This is one of the earliest and most subtle indications that someone no longer loves you. It often starts with them losing interest in your world. Not too long ago, they might have eagerly asked how your doctor's appointment went, what your grandkids are up to, or inquired about how you've been sleeping. But now, it feels like they hardly glance your way when you speak. They don't ask follow-up questions, nor do they show interest in the little stories that fill your day. This change isn't just a result of being busy or distracted. It's rooted in emotional disconnection. Let me share a story about Edna and Paul, who were married for nearly 4 decades. Edna used to share everything with Paul, how the roses in their garden were blooming again, what antics the neighbor's dog was up to, or how her book club was passionately debating a mystery novel. Paul used to listen with genuine interest, laughing and nodding, contributing his thoughts here and there. But somewhere along the way, that dynamic shifted. Edna would start telling a story, and Paul would barely glance up from the television. His responses became gruff, or worse, he wouldn't respond at all. Edna felt a heaviness growing between them long before she could articulate it. This wasn't merely a lack of conversation. It was a clear absence of interest. When someone loves you, they lean into your world. They want to understand you, even in the tiniest details. They remember your important appointments and care about what's bothering you. But when that care diminishes, they begin to emotionally check out. This doesn't manifest as anger. It often comes cloaked in silence, a type of emotional vacancy that can leave you feeling profoundly lonely, even when sharing the same space. Here's a hard truth. People don't stop asking questions because you're boring or because your stories have grown stale. They stop because they no longer feel emotionally invested. You might find yourself becoming background noise rather than the main character in their life story. That realization can sting. But if you start feeling like your words no longer resonate, it may be time to reflect on when they stopped being curious about you. And more importantly, why didn't you notice it sooner? Because when someone no longer loves you, they often don't verbalize it. Instead, they demonstrate it by what they no longer ask and what they no longer seem to care about hearing. Moving on to the second sign, decreased patience. It's common for someone's love to begin to fade, and with that fading love, their patience often disappears first. The little quirks and habits that used to make them chuckle, or that they would gently correct, suddenly start to irritate them. You might find yourself recounting a story you've shared before, or asking a simple question about the calendar or grocery shopping, only to be met with a sigh, a sharp tone, or a cold look that communicates, "Why are you bothering me?" Consider someone like Helen, 76, who has always been a bit forgetful. Her husband, Richard, used to tease her lovingly about it. He'd help her find her misplaced glasses, or remind her for the 5th time where she left her phone. That was part of their rhythm, but then something shifted. Richard began snapping at her, muttering under his breath or rolling his eyes. One day, when she asked for help logging into her online banking, he simply said, "You need to figure it out yourself." Helen didn't forget that moment, not because it was dramatic, but because it starkly contrasted how he used to be. When someone is in love, they extend grace. They know your quirks, your habits, and your weaknesses, and they navigate them with care. But when love starts to fade, even the simplest requests can feel like unwelcome demands. This shift, while subtle, is incredibly powerful. Where there once was understanding, now there's resistance. And it's not about something you did wrong. It's about how they've begun to pull away emotionally. Patience is often the first thread that snaps in this situation. You might begin to doubt yourself, asking if you're being too needy or if you're asking for too much. But the reality is, it's not about needing less. It's about how their willingness to be there for you has changed. They're no longer investing emotionally, which becomes evident in their tone, the way they interrupt, the eye rolls you might catch, and the heavy silence that follows even the most ordinary questions. Don't overlook this shift. It's not merely moodiness or stress. It could be a sign that their heart is no longer in the same place it once was. If you frequently feel like a bother rather than a partner, that's something worthy of acknowledgement. If you're still with me and finding these insights valuable, please drop a number 2 in the comments to let me know you're engaged. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our content. Your support means the world to us and enables us to keep creating valuable material for you. Now let's move on to the third sign, a lack of shared time. When love begins to slip away, the time spent together starts to diminish as well. It's not just about the hours or days on a calendar. It's about the kind of time that feels meaningful and mutually chosen. You'll notice they begin to stop making plans with you, not because they're busy, but because they simply don't want to. They used to sit beside you during your favorite shows, or join you on the porch for evening chats. But now, they linger in other rooms and leave the house more often without asking if you'd like to come along. Even when they are physically present, it feels like their mind is somewhere else entirely. Take, for example, Ray, who is 68 years old and cherished his morning routine with his wife, Linda. For years, they would sip coffee side by side at the kitchen table, discussing the weather, the news, or just enjoying each other's company in comfortable silence. But slowly, that dynamic began to change. Linda started waking up earlier and going for long walks alone. The coffee would already be brewed, and the table would sit empty. She claimed she needed time for herself, which Ray initially understood. But as this pattern continued day after day, he began to feel like a guest in his own marriage. When someone truly loves you, they carve out time for you because time itself is a language of love. But as that love weakens, so does their desire to be close. Often, they won't offer an explanation. They might say they're tired or that they have errands to run, or they might say nothing at all. But the truth is, people make time for what matters to them. If you find yourself often alone, even when they're in the same house, it's probably not a coincidence. They'll stop inviting you to partake in small activities. They won't ask what your day looks like, and they might even say things like, "You go ahead," or "I think I'll just stay here." This gradual withdrawal doesn't require a dramatic fight or a loud declaration. All it takes is a series of mornings spent apart, enough dinners eaten alone, and nights when they turn their back to you in bed. If you feel like you're being left behind in a relationship that once felt united, it's crucial not to ignore that feeling. Because when someone no longer loves you, the time they allocate to you isn't just reduced. It's actively removed, and that kind of silence can speak volumes. The fourth sign is emotional withholding. There often comes a quiet moment when someone stops letting you in, not just into their day-to-day activities, but into their inner thoughts and feelings as well. You might have once heard about their worries, their hopes, or their thoughts on life, work, and family. But now it feels like they're wearing a mask. Their responses become superficial. With phrases like "it's fine" or "don't worry about it," you start to sense that something is being kept behind closed doors. And the most unsettling realization is that you no longer feel like a safe space for them. Let's consider Gloria, who is 71. Her partner, Samuel, had always been open with her. He would vent about a difficult phone call with his brother, or share his fears ahead of his knee surgery. He even referred to her as his best friend, but over the past year, that dynamic changed. When Samuel's cousin passed away, Gloria only learned about it a week later. When she asked him why he hadn't told her, he simply replied, "I didn't want to burden you," but deep down, she knew that wasn't the full truth. It seemed easier for him to carry that weight alone than to invite her into his emotional world. This kind of shift doesn't happen overnight, but when someone no longer loves you, they start to close off emotionally. They still engage in conversation, yes, but not about what truly matters or what feels real. You might begin to feel more like a roommate than a partner. Important decisions are made without your input, and the thoughts that once flowed between you during dinner now remain trapped in their mind. You might not even recognize it's missing until you notice the growing distance. People don't just stop communicating, they stop trusting you with their truths. And that can hurt more than silence itself, because it signifies they no longer view you as the person to turn to when life gets tough or uncertain. They might still be kind and helpful, still do chores around the house, and still sit next to you during church. But that warmth and closeness have evaporated. When you try to reach for that connection, asking what's wrong or attempting to engage, they tend to pull back, not out of anger, but through avoidance. They'll say, "I'm just tired," or "it's something you wouldn't understand," when what they're really conveying is that they've already turned inward. They've already started to disconnect. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're still here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our future videos. Your support is what allows us to keep creating valuable content. Finally, we come to the fifth sign, physical withdrawal. As emotional closeness begins to fade, the physical aspect often follows suit. You might notice fewer hugs, less eye contact, and a lack of those lingering touches on the arm or a soft kiss on the forehead for no particular reason. Even sitting together on the couch may start to feel like two individuals merely sharing space, rather than enjoying a connection. For many couples, physical affection is a way to keep unspoken love alive. So when that disappears, it doesn't just create a sense of loneliness, it feels like love has physically taken a step back. Consider Martin and Alice, who have been married for 45 years. They were once naturally affectionate, holding hands during walks, rubbing each other's shoulders after a long day. And Martin would always pull Alice in for a quick kiss before heading to bed. However, after his retirement, something shifted. He became more withdrawn and quiet, often turning his back to Alice in bed and shrugging off her hand when she tried to rest it on his knee while watching television. He stopped initiating any form of physical touch, and gradually, Alice found herself hesitating to reach out. not because her feelings for him had changed, but because she felt uncertain about where she stood. Physical touch is a language all its own. It communicates, "I'm here, I care. I still choose you." When someone no longer loves you, they begin to avoid that language. They pull away and stop reaching for your hand in public. They may flinch slightly when you lean in for a kiss. These changes are subtle, but they cut deep. The longer this pattern continues, the more challenging it becomes to bridge that emotional and physical gap. It's not always about passion or romance. It's about presence and reassurance, the shared feeling that even in silence you're still desired. When that assurance fades, it's easy to question everything, to wonder if you've done something wrong. But often, it's not about your actions. It's about how they feel, and how they've lost that emotional and physical attraction to you. If you're sensing a loss of warmth when they enter the room, or if your hugs feel more like polite gestures than genuine connections, it may be time to confront what's no longer being said. Because when someone stops loving you, the body knows. It starts to reveal the emotional distance one step at a time. As we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've just discussed. After hearing these 5 signs, you might find that one or more of them resonates with your own experience. The important thing is not only recognizing these signs, but also understanding what they mean for you. When love starts to fade, we often feel that change in our gut long before we see it manifest in words or actions. Yet we frequently second-guess ourselves, downplaying what we feel, convincing ourselves not to overreact. But the truth is, emotional distance always leaves traces behind, through silence, avoidance, and a shrinking sense of being known. If you've sensed that shift and have been questioning whether what you're experiencing is legitimate, chances are it is. You're likely feeling the difference between being actively chosen versus merely being tolerated. That's not something to brush aside. It's something to explore with honesty, courage, and compassion for yourself and for your relationship. Remember, acknowledging that someone's love is fading doesn't mean all is lost or that things can't be repaired. The first step is always to see clearly. Once you recognize these patterns, you can stop blaming yourself and stop shouldering the burden of a one-sided connection. You'll be able to start asking the right questions. Do I feel emotionally safe here? Am I being treated with care? Do I still matter? Your peace of mind is just as vital as anyone else's comfort in a relationship. While it may hurt to admit that someone's love is diminishing, it's far more painful to keep pretending it isn't happening. You deserve authentic love, the kind that shows up, stays curious, and keeps choosing you every single day. Thank you for joining me today. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below and share one insight you gained today and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your feedback is invaluable to us, so don't hesitate to share. Reading your comments motivates and inspires us to continue creating meaningful content. If you found this video helpful, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it with others. Your support is what allows us to keep providing valuable information. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.